Hello, everybody.
Hey guys, we're live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today I have a brand new guest for you guys. The Amber Resells is here. What's up, Amber? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for inviting me on the channel. I'm excited to get to know you more and your audience as well. Everybody
Okay, well,
watching?
awesome. Thank you for coming on the channel today. So go ahead and introduce yourself in case people don't know who you are. You can tell people who you are, where you're from, and you can tell them what it is that you do.
Sure. So my name is Amber. My YouTube channel is Amber Resells. I work full-time as an actuary, and I do reselling in YouTube part-time for a little bit extra money and because I find it really fun. And I live in Iowa. So I live in Des Moines, Iowa, the capital of Iowa.
Okay, so if you got to explain in layman terms, what is an actuary? What do these people do? Is it because in my brain, I'm almost like nervous to ask. Go tell us what an actuary does.
So if you Google, like, what does an actuary do, it'll say quantifies risk, which is just as confusing, I think, as just saying I'm an actuary. But quantifies risk. So what that can mean is you're looking at a bunch of different types of people and deciding what premiums to charge for insurance to make sure you can cover the cost of the insurance. But it could also be looking at the company's risk to say, what are the things the company needs to worry about most? And then how do we put things in place to hedge for those risks? So like the company might be worried about what happens if the economy crashes, or what happens if a pandemic happens in the country. And then we try to model like what could happen, and then we try to come up with ways to prevent those things from happening. Or not prevent them from happening, but prevent the company from being as harmed if they do happen.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, we're good then. When you said actuary, the first thing in my mind, I would think about someone that like hangs out with dead people all day. You know, like the mortuary person. Yeah, that's what I was like, please don't be a mortuary person. Please don't be one of those. That would like creep me out. I'm sorry. That's just the first thing that came to my mind. So, hey, we got a bunch of people in the chat today. Let's say hello to a few people here in the chat. We have Pika Resellers is here. He says, "Hey, eBay Addicts," and he says, "I was at the reseller rally. Nice meeting you." He says he drank too much. Were you at the reseller rally this year?
Yeah, I was. It was nice to meet you too. I drank way too much the night before, and then the night of the rally, I didn't drink at all.
Okay, cool. We have Shaking Trees, Catching Coins with Ken. He says, "Howdy, peeps. Wanted to say hey to Flipping It Good. Is here Zero." He says, "Hey, eBay Addicts, what's up? Listening while listening." Well, thank you guys for coming in and hanging out. We have Cherry Picker Flipper is here. Says you're good with numbers. And we have Carolina Thrifter is here. Casey, he says, "What's up? I made a live." Thank you guys for coming by and hanging out with us today. If you have questions for our guests, go ahead and drop it in the chat. So I have a question for you. I can tell just from like watching your videos and kind of like getting to know you a little bit. Like I can tell that you're like educated. So did you spend a lot of time going to college to do what you're doing now? And when you went to school, was the major you majored in college, was it actually in the field that you're doing now, or is it something totally different?
Yeah, so I have a bachelor's degree, and I double majored in economics and math, but there's a specialty within the math major that is actuarial science. So I did major in what I do now. And then to be an actuary, you have to take this long set of professional exams that are like the preliminary exams are all math based. So like financial mathematics, there's one that's a calculus one, and then it's called like life contingencies. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But then the upper levels are more essay exams. My dog just came inside from running. I don't know. Can you hear him panting?
Oh, a little bit, but it's fine. This is the cool thing about doing live. You never know. You never know what'll happen. So so you went to college. You have your bachelor's degree, and then you got out, and then you started. How long have you been with the company you're at right now?
Almost 7 years. So. But when you start working full time, there's 9 exams. There were 8 when I started, but there's 9 now. And when they hire you full time, you have to continue taking the exams. So usually people will pass a couple in college, and then they will take more after college, and then the company pays you to study. So I would work like 30 hours a week, and then I would get paid to study for 10 hours a week, but I would make a full salary for the whole year. So it's pretty interesting. And then each exam costs the early exams cost like $300 to take them. And then the later exams cost like $1,200 to $1,500 just to take them. So the company also pays the cost for taking the exam. The study materials cost like another $1,000 or $2,000. So the company pays for that. So yeah.
Yeah, I can tell watching your videos, you're really like an analytical type of person. Like you're good with numbers.
Yeah.
And you're really, how long have you been on YouTube now? Tell people a little bit about your YouTube channel. You've been on, was it 3 years now? 3 or 4 years? You've been on YouTube?
Yeah, so I posted my first video 3.5 years ago. And at that time, I was just posting whenever I had a good idea, basically. So I posted like one video every 2 months for the first like 6 to 8 months. And then, yeah, then I had a video that did really well and I got a bunch of subscribers. And so then I felt, okay, now I have people that I feel like obligated to like post more. So then I started posting. I try to post once a week.
Okay.
But whenever I had those exams I was talking about, I would take like a 2 month break. So twice a year I would take an exam, and twice a year I would take like 2 months off from YouTube. And then in January I passed my last one. So I'm officially done with my exams, and that means I have more time for YouTube and reselling also.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, I was watching your YouTube videos, and I think you're at like 19, 20,000 subscribers. So do you have any tips or tricks or advice you can help our audience with? Because there's some people that they've been on YouTube for honestly 6 months, 8 months, or a year, and
Yeah.
it honestly feels like sometimes like you're banging your head up against the wall because
Right.
you'll produce a video and you're like, hey, I felt like with the work that I put in, this video should have 1,000 views, and
Mhm.
then the work that you put in and what you imagine in your head doesn't correlate to what actually transactions on YouTube. But you actually have another video, another channel, it had like 1 million views. So I was like,
Yeah.
hey, if we need to talk about YouTube, this is the person we're going to have to talk to right
I
here.
mean,
Talk to Amber
there's people
Resells
who have
about it.
way more subscribers than I do. But I think, okay, so I think there's different ways you can do it. So there's some people
Uh-huh.
who are super funny, and so they just get traction, I think, like, word of mouth, or just the amount of time people are watching their videos. YouTube pushes them because they're really funny, so they are engaging. I'm not that funny. I'm more of that, as you saw, I'm very analytical, but I use that to a strength as well. So okay, sorry, funny people. And then the second type are in the reselling community are people who just find crazy hauls, like really good stuff that people just watch because they're like, oh my gosh, how did they find this? Or like someone street savvy, someone comes to mind. She goes to the bins in Denver and she would find such good stuff. All she would do is post hauls and people watched them because it was really good stuff. And then you have people like me who I am part-time. Like I don't have a ton of time to source, and I am very analytical and straightforward. And like, I'm not super, funny or outgoing. But for me, what I do is I try to come up with video ideas that I want to see that aren't already on YouTube. And those are the videos that I have grown the most from. So if I come up with something that I'm like, this would be really cool to do, like an experiment, or I really wanted to, like, I wanted to learn about this and I didn't understand it, but now I understand and I don't see anything on YouTube about that, then I'll make a video about that. And pretty much like most of my growth has come from videos like that, where I come up with an idea for an experiment or a topic that's not already on YouTube. I post it, and then when people are searching for that topic, they find my video, and that's caused a lot of the growth.
Okay, do you have any other tips or tricks that you can help them out with, like maybe coming up with a creative thumbnail, or maybe a catchy like clickbait? Because I'm not a clickbaity person, and I'm
Yeah.
not like a big drama person. Like I was watching another YouTuber, and they were like, they were like, someone accused me of stealing this item at a yard sale today, and that's just not my personality, and I don't want to like come across that way. And even if something did that was like controversial or controversy, I don't get like, that's not me. I'm not a big drama person. I'm chilled,
Yeah.
laid back, relaxed type of person. I'm not like confrontational type of person. I wouldn't be like, someone accused me of stealing at the local Walmart, or a fight broke out. Like that's just not me. But what would you say to kind of help them out if they're like, hey, because the hardest part that I found is just going from 0 to 1,000 subscribers. Like that's like the hardest part.
Right.
And once you get there, it gets a little bit easier. But I mean, it's hard to come up with something creative every week. But go ahead, since you've been doing this longer than I have.
That's what I did first to grow, was I came up with creative ideas. So like my first 6 months when I had posted just a few videos, I had gotten to like 300 subscribers. And the videos that I posted were, one video was, okay, so I was new to Poshmark, and like they tell you, package your sale nicely, include a thank you note, and wrap it in tissue paper. And I was like, do people actually do this? Like, am I supposed to make this like a gift to make it all pretty? So I ordered like 5 things from 5 different buyers, and then I opened them on camera, and I just titled it like comparing Poshmark packages or something like that. And people found it because people were also wondering the same thing as I was, and they were looking for that. So they found my channel through that. And then what else did I do? Oh, I did one that I was like, what happens if I list 30 pairs of jeans on Poshmark? Like, which brands are going to sell first? And so I did like a day-by-day vlog style where I listed 30 jeans, then I recorded every day what brands were selling and how much they're selling for. That video also brought in views. I don't know if that's super original now, but maybe at the time it was. And then,
Right.
and then also at that time, there were like, I watch a lot of YouTube. So I was watching these bigger channels, bigger resellers, and some of them were selling mystery boxes. And I'm a new seller. So I was like, wow, they're selling mystery boxes. I'm like, I'm going to review it, but I was watching reviews and people were always clearly biased. Like they really love the seller or they really don't like the seller. And they were super biased. So I'm like, I want to do one where I'm just unbiased as possible, where I just look up comps and I say like the average of the first 10 comps is this amount. This is what I think they'll sell for. And then I give at the end, like whether it's worth it or not, but I set my criteria before I open the box. So that video like helped a lot because people were looking for that seller and then they would find my video. And so I got a lot of subscribers through that. And it did actually cause a lot of drama, which going in, I didn't think the boxes were going to be bad. But after I did a few, I realized like most of them are bad and I just caused a lot of drama from it. So I haven't done those in a few years, or in a couple years. But that did give me some growth in the beginning.
Yeah, I considered it maybe getting, maybe like Harry Tornado or Prison of Profit or, Flip the World, buying a mystery box and then coming home and open it up to see what was in it. But then I was like, well, what if they send me something really, really crappy? You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't want someone to like think that this is like a bad reflection on this person because I'm not for like, constant arguments or controversy or whatever. Like that's not what I'm looking for. Like I want it to be a win-win for everybody, if it can be, So I kind of thought about that in the back of my mind. I was like, hey, I could try this. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to go there, because like you said, people think that you're biased one way or the other,
Well, so what I did was I ordered the box and I had the first one I just ordered myself because like my channel, hardly anybody knew about my channel. So I just ordered it myself. And then I said before I opened it, I'm like, here's my criteria and here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to look for the item, pull up the first so many comps, take the average of them. And like, if my average profit per item is above $7, I'll say the box is worth it. If it's below $7, I'll say it's not worth it. And like, I didn't talk about the person themselves. I just talked about the box. And so, yeah, that's what I did. And that helped a lot. And then that box wasn't very good. So then I asked people like, I want a good box. Which one should I do? So they told me someone else. I tried them. It wasn't very good. I was like, I want a good box. And then after the third, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like I'm just creating enemies. And yeah.
Right. I'm with you.
So I haven't done that in a while.
So talk to me, what made you decide to start a YouTube channel? And another thing I think that people have is just kind of maybe getting out of their shell, because even though when I'm not on YouTube, I'm kind of an introverted type of person. I'm not like a super outgoing person. Like if I ran into somebody at Walmart or a gas station, I'm not just going to be like, hey, how you doing? My name's Jeff. How are you? How was your day? Like I'm more like a person that's quiet and kind of keeps to myself. So what kind of got you to be like, hey, let's do this. I can do this,
Well, I've always wanted to create a YouTube channel. Like I said, I watch YouTube. Like that's a lot of my entertainment. Like I'm watching YouTube a lot of the day. Like like tonight, I'm about to go mow the yard and I'll like put a YouTube video on while I mow, So I'm definitely someone who consumes YouTube and I've always wanted to make a channel, but I had never had a topic that I was passionate about or that I felt like there was enough content not out there already. So I did think for a while about making videos about actuarial science. Like I could interview different people who work as actuaries and like show examples of what people do. Because I do think a lot of people don't understand the job at all. And then I was like, I could also do videos about like study tips for each exam or like talk about some of the main topics. But I'm like, I don't really want to do that. Like I don't want to work as an actuary, study for exams, and then on top of that have a YouTube channel about it. So I don't know, some point I think there's this channel called Best Dressed. She's not a reseller. She's just like her channel has like millions of subscribers now. But at the time, I think she had maybe like 50,000 or something. And she was buying vintage clothes at the thrift store and flipping them on Depop. And that I think is where I got the idea. And I've always gone to garage sales and thrift stores like my whole life. That was nothing new. But yeah, so then I started being a reseller, and found the reseller YouTube. And then I was like, I have some ideas here that I think would be great for videos. And then, like I said, the first 6 months, I just did like one video every couple months of these ideas that I had. And then it grew from there. So,
yeah. Like you said, you're doing your YouTube videos kind of spaced out. I'm more like with my reselling, like instead of me trying to sell an item for like $100 item, like I'd rather sell 10 items that are $10 a piece. So my mindset is kind of similar to YouTube, where it's like, okay, I'm not gonna, every video I put out is not gonna be a banger. It's not gonna have 10,000 views. So let's just go with 10 items for $10 items that will equal to 100 without having to go and do all the shopping and running around and all that. I don't know if that makes sense to you or not. But anyways, let me say hello here to a few people here in the chat. I wanted to say hey to Galaxy CDs, Rocks, and Flips is here. He says, I got a mystery box and never again. I wanted to say hey to Small Town Picker is here in the chat. I wanted to say hey to my brother is here in the chat. Bearded Veteran is here. The Carolina Thrifter is here in the chat. And the Cherry Picker Flipper is here. It says, on the reseller front, what do you resell and where do you source? So kind of get into that a little bit. Oh, and the Bearded Thrift Machine is here. I don't know if you know who he is. Julian is here. So kind of tell me what
Thrift Machine. I think is he live on Cat's channel quite a bit?
Yeah,
I've seen him. Yeah, I think I've seen him before. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't miss him. I mean, he's a guy with the beard. You can't miss
right.
him. Yeah. So
what do I resell? So I am like almost entirely clothing and shoes. So since like I said, I finished my exams in January. So since then I've had more time. So I started branching out. So historically I've been pretty much only Poshmark and pretty much only clothing and shoes, just because I had limited time. And so I just narrowed my focus on that small area of reselling. And since then, since the beginning of the year, I've started listing on Facebook, eBay, and Poshmark. And I've started listing some things outside of clothing and shoes. So I've sold actually like 7 or 8 sets of dishes since the beginning of the year, and few video games. I found like an original Game Boy and a Super Game Boy at a garage sale like a month ago, sold those. So I'm just dipping my toes in the water of non-clothing. But like I said, I watch a lot of YouTube. So I've watched a ton of people who don't sell clothing. So I have like at least some knowledge of what to pick up. And yeah, so I definitely feel most comfortable with clothing and shoes, but I'm starting to branch out to other items as well.
Yeah, so your bread and butter would be shoes and clothing. That's what you I guess that would be kind of your niche, right?
Yeah, I would say the area I feel the most comfortable in is jeans. Like, I feel like I can go through the jeans section and pretty much know what things are worth.
Yeah, I used to sell blue jeans back in the day. I would go to the thrift stores and pick up like Levi's blue jeans for like $2 a piece, and then resell them on eBay for $20, $25, $30 in that range. Yeah. But then thrift stores started raising their prices, and it's like, I don't want to pay $5 for this pair of blue jeans and sell it for $20. And then by the time you take out your shipping fees and cost of goods, and then maybe, an item gets returned or not as described or whatever, then I felt like I'm just like running in circles, So if you can get it, like everything, like there's merchandise everywhere. The key is just getting it for the right price, so there's enough margin. So in my head, I could justify paying $2 for a pair of blue jeans and selling them for $20, $25. Because I was like, even worst case scenario, you sell them for $20, you're still looking at a 10x rate of return on what you paid for the item and what it sold for. But when they start raising their prices, and you have to kind of second guess, like, is what I'm doing, like, is the squeeze worth the juice? Like, what I'm doing, is it working, at this price point? So I wanted to kind of get into a little bit of your backstory, a little bit about what got you started into reselling. Because you said you watched a lot of YouTube videos. Were you watching YouTube videos one day and you're just like, hey, I like making extra money. I like thrifting. I could do that. Like, how did that, like, tell us a story about how you got into reselling.
No, so I think it was from the Best Dressed channel that I was talking about. So, because she would flip stuff on Depop, and I love going to garage sales, but I had gotten to the point where I was like, I don't need so much stuff for myself, and like I'm going to a lot of garage sales without finding things that I actually need. So then I think I don't know if YouTube came first or the idea of reselling came first. I can't remember. But I've always loved going to garage sales. I've always loved going to thrift stores. And then when I realized, like, I can go to garage sales and thrift stores and look for anything that's valuable, and then I can buy it and, sell it online. Like, I love, the treasure hunt that so many of us do. And yeah, like growing up, like I remember the first time I ever got something new for clothing. Like that's how much we shopped at thrift stores and garage sales. I was like 13 or 14 the first time I ever got like an item from an actual store brand new. So it's definitely like that's what I was used to, and you know, totally normal for me to go to garage sales and find things. And I would say like also recently my sourcing has been entirely garage sales, and I flew out to Denver to the Goodwill outlet a couple months ago, and I picked up a bunch of stuff out there.
I
So
saw you. I saw you were on with another reseller, another YouTuber ran into you right there, right?
yeah, I
Sarah Styles. Did you
yeah,
run into Sarah while you're out there?
yeah, I met up with a handful of people. It's crazy how many like resellers there are in like every city. So yeah, so this time I did like schedule. I'm like, okay, this night I'm meet with these people. This day I'm gonna meet up with these people, and my mom went with me, so that was really fun.
Okay, well that's cool. So you're able to go thrifting with your friends and family. That always makes it fun.
Yeah,
I remember when I was in Kentucky, I would go a lot of times with my brother, and we would go to flea markets or garage sales or thrift stores together, and they'd be like, "All right, let's split up. You go this way, I'm gonna go this way. We'll come
yeah,
back and see who finds the best stuff." And it was always something that was like fun and it was like competitive, and it's like let's see who finds the best items. You got 10 minutes till the store closes, go. So it's always fun,
yeah,
I think, to go with other resellers. So
yeah,
you've been so you got into reselling not as like a necessity where you're like, hey, I need to make extra money because I have bills I have to pay. It was just something that you were doing kind of like almost as a hobby. It was fun for you to go looking at yard sales or thrift stores for items, and you would come across good deals, but it wasn't something necessarily that you needed or wanted.
yeah,
So
right,
you kind of
exactly.
decided to like, hey, I don't need these pair of shoes, but because it's not my size, it's not my style, but I can go ahead and pick them up and resell them and still make a few dollars, and then take
Yeah,
that money and go get something that I guess you need, right?
yeah. There was definitely times where I had the thought of, oh, I really like this item, but I don't have a use for it before I like realized reselling was a thing. So that's why I was saying, like, I think maybe the best dress channel was the first time I got in my head, like, oh, I can just buy this and sell it online. Like, so, and then I was also going to say, when it comes to like thrifting with family, 2 weeks from now, so I have four sisters. They're all younger than me, but we're all like, so I'm 29 and my youngest sister's 18. So we're all adults now. But 2 weeks from now, we're all going, there's like a Highway 141 garage sales, which goes through a big portion of Iowa. And like we're all taking Friday off and we're going garage selling together. So it's definitely like a family hobby that we like doing.
Okay, awesome. So
What,
you've been reselling now for what, 3 or 4 years now, would you say? How long have you been
yeah,
reselling total?
4 years, part time though. So I feel
Yeah.
like I would know way more if I was full time, but 4 years part time.
Okay, now how many items do you have like active listings? Because you do a lot of cross listing. Because I was watching your channel and you list items on Facebook Marketplace, Poshmark. You do a little bit of eBay. Like, what is the platform that like does the best for you?
So I've actually been experimenting with that. So my last, like, how long have I been doing this now? Maybe 2 months. I've been, so I just started 2 months ago listing everything I list goes on to eBay, Facebook Marketplace, and Poshmark. And I'm listing it at the exact same price at the same time. And the goal is to see which platform does the best. So I've been, keeping track of which one it sells on, how much it sells for, all those things. And so I mean, when it comes to which one does the best, so my last video, so every video I've been keeping a tally, keeping a running total. And so as of last video, eBay and Facebook were like neck and neck. Like I think they were both at like 25 sales each. And then Poshmark isn't too far behind. It's like at like 18 sales. So of the almost 75 sales I've had that have been listed on all three, they're like very close together. So I mean, that's the best I can tell you is that they've been very close as I've been experimenting.
Yeah, I mainly just sell 95% of my items on eBay, and then I have a few items that I sell locally, like on OfferUp locally, like bigger items that I don't want to ship. But I,
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that because I tried Poshmark for like a week, 2, 3 days, or a week, and I was like, this is not for me because I don't sell a ton of clothing, and I'm not about that life where you got to go in and share your items on the platform. And I think they take 20% cut when you sell the items. And I haven't tried Facebook Marketplace. So can you drop some knowledge on our audience? Can you kind of educate us a little bit about how that platform works? Like on Facebook, you sell the items on Facebook and then you box them up and ship them to your customers, or how
Yeah.
exactly does that work? And do they pay with PayPal, or does the money just go into your bank account? Or explain a little bit more about how that works.
Yeah. So to plug my channel real quick, I've been getting a ton of questions about Facebook Marketplace. So I actually had 3 people that I know have sold quite a bit on Facebook Marketplace. I had them sit down with me and we did basically I interviewed them and I asked them a lot of like the questions you just asked me. I asked them the same questions, and that video is on my channel, and it's like maybe 3 or 4 videos ago. And it's like an hour long of me just asking them all of the Facebook Marketplace questions that I've been getting asked. So for anyone watching who wants to know more about Facebook Marketplace, I definitely check out that video because we go over a ton of information. But as far as what you asked of like, do I ship it and how do they pay? So Facebook, when someone goes to pay, it asks them like, I think it gives them the option to either use PayPal or input their credit card information. So Facebook prompts them and asks them for their information. And then when they buy something with shipping, you'll get a shipping label. Basically, you can click like create shipping label, and then it will bring it up just like if you're on Poshmark or eBay, and then you can print it off again, just like Poshmark or eBay. So it's very similar like to the other platforms in terms of the mechanics of it. Like someone goes, scrolls through the feed, chooses something they want to buy, they click purchase, you get notified that you got a sale, and then you go in and print off your label, attach it to the package, and you send it to them. As far as like shipping costs, it's a tiered system. So under half a pound, they just changed the price. So I think it might be $3.75 now. And then half pound to 1 pound is like $5.75. 1 pound to 2 pounds is $9. 2 pounds to 5 pounds is $12. Above 10 pounds, you enter the weight and it has a fixed rate no matter where it goes in the country. So yeah, but there's a lot of glitches right now with Facebook Marketplace. Like they're just getting started and there's a lot of problems because they're trying to change and improve things. But whenever they do that, they mess up other stuff. So that's my warning is Facebook Marketplace, I've gotten a lot of really good sales on, but if you're easily frustrated, you're going to be frustrated because they change things or like things get messed up a lot. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, and then their customer service is pretty much non-existent. Like it's very hard to get a hold of somebody and get an actual answer if you have a problem. But I do like it in that some things will sell so fast on Facebook Marketplace. You list them and like within 30 minutes they're sold. So
well, you're a numbers person. You know about how many users that they have on the Facebook Marketplace like platform? Like eBay, for example, they have, I don't know, 187 million buyers that bought something on the platform in the past 12 months. And I know Poshmark and Macari and other platforms are smaller, but yeah. Facebook has exponentially a really large user base of people that are on it. But it's more of like a social media platform than it is like reselling. I mean, people don't like, I don't think about, hey, let me log into Facebook to try to find something to buy. So that's just me. But like on the platform, how many people do you think is actually on there that are buyers on the platform? And what are the fees on that platform? If someone is like, hey, what kind of fees are they going to take out if I sell something there?
Yeah, so right now the fees are 5%, and that's 5% of the total. So the cost plus the shipping, they take 5% of all of that. So it's lower than eBay and Poshmark, but again, you don't have very good customer service, like no help pretty much if there's a problem. What was your other question that you asked before that?
I was just curious, like if you knew like how many people are on the platform that are buyers on the platform, talking about the fees. And also like, what if a customer opens up and they say, hey, I want to do a return, or I wasn't happy with the item and I wanted a refund? Because I've never sold on Facebook Marketplace. That's why I'm asking you questions.
Yeah. So the number of buyers, I have no clue. I assume it's a lot because Facebook Marketplace is part of the normal Facebook platform. It's not a separate app or anything. And like, they'll also sometimes show items on people's newsfeed. So like your normal Facebook Marketplace newsfeed, you might be scrolling through there and they might show you Facebook Marketplace items that are for sale. So I'm not really sure what portion of the Facebook users are considered buyers or have bought. I don't know. And then in terms of refunds and returns, again, we talk about that in my video, and I'm pretty new to the platform relative to the people I interviewed. And so they have a lot more experience than I do. But when it comes to returns, technically it says that returns are not allowed, but people can open up a, like, I think it's called like Poshmark, or not Poshmark, Facebook buyer protection or something like that, where they can submit a case saying like this item wasn't what I wanted, or like it wasn't the right size, or it doesn't fit me, or whatever. And from the people I interviewed, their experience has been if someone opens a case, Facebook will side with them. So you're better off trying to work with them and say, you know, if you send the item back to me, I will submit a refund to you. So it's very interesting because Facebook is pretty hands off when it comes to returns. It's like you work with your buyer, and if you don't work with the buyer can contact Facebook, and then Facebook will just refund them. And they, as of today, and from what I've heard, Facebook doesn't really work with the buyer to get your item back. So it's really important for you to work with your buyer if they want to return, and just to like try to appease them as much as possible and get your item back and then refund them.
Well, 5% doesn't sound like a bad deal, honestly. If you sold an item, let's say you sold a shoes for $100, you're going to get $95 out of that 100. Then they're going to take the 5% fee, right?
Well, unless you have shipping on top. Like if shipping is $12, and then they'll take $12 as well. But yeah, I mean, okay. I've sold 50 items on Facebook so far, and I haven't had a single return. So I think the fact that it says no returns allowed, like, reduces the number of people that try to return something. But technically, if they want to return it, they can open a buyer protection case and they'll get their money back without even have to sending the item back. So
okay. So the people, do they have like a debit or credit card on file, and then they just charge the money from their debit card? And then is it similar to eBay managed payments where it's like, okay, the money will be in your bank account in 2 or 3 days? Or does it wait till after the customer received the item in the mail and then the money is released to your account?
So okay, to be completely honest, like I have an extra bank account where everything goes, and I save it up and I invest it. So I don't really pay attention that much to like when it gets in there, because I know it'll eventually get in there. But I have heard that Facebook takes longer to get your money than the other platforms. That like it'll, like, they wait for the buyer to get the item, and then they wait for so many days after that, and then they wait for processing time. So I've heard it's longer than the other platforms, but again, I don't pay too much attention because it goes into this account that I use for investments, and yeah, I don't pay that close to it, attention to it. That's a good question though, that I should find out the answer so I can answer it, but I'm not sure.
Okay, cool. We have a question here from Dave Sport Quest. He says, do you use a cross lister for listing? Do you use a cross listing platform to help cross list your items, or do you do it all manually yourself?
So I purposely am doing it manual now because I wanted to get experience on all three. Well, Poshmark, obviously I have a lot of experience with, but I wanted to get experience with eBay and Facebook on my own. Like I wanted to learn what the process is like when I manually list everything, so that I can really decide, is it worth it to pay somebody to help, pay a service to help me. And so soon I'm going to be doing like a deep dive comparison of all of the cross-listing softwares. And yeah, I feel like most people on YouTube are pretty biased based on whichever service reached out to them and, like wanted to work with them first. So right. I have intentionally not been working with anybody. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do like I said, I'm super analytical. Like I'm gonna do a deep dive review and like do some experiments to decide which one's the fastest, like which one is most worth the money. And then I'll reach out or respond to whichever one I agree with and then try to work with them. So I will be using a cross-listing. Well, it depends. If I test out the cross-listing services and I'm like, they are not worth the money, then I'll just do a video saying that I don't think they're worth the money and here's why. But if I do, then I'll be using one in the future, like if I do like them. So I guess my answer is I'm not using one now intentionally, but I'm not saying long-term that I won't be using one. So okay, cool. I want to say hello to a few people here in the chat. Your buddy is here. Greg from Rocky Mountain Resell is here in the chat. He says 3 days after shipping shows that it's been delivered, and however long it takes your bank to process the funds. I wanted to say hey to the Hoogs are here. Every time I see your name, I mispronounce it. I apologize. Javela Flips Annie is here in the chat. We have Urban Foster coming to us all the way from Australia. I wanted to say hey to Small Town Picker is here in the chat. I wanted to say hey to Cherry Picker Flippers. He says, come visit Florida. You can thrift yard sales and flea markets all year round. No snow here. And and I wanted to say hey to Julian, the Bearded Thrift Machine,
And Ryan is here, Galaxy CD Rocks and Flips. If you guys have questions for our guests, go ahead and drop it in the chat. Now, from your couple of years of experience in reselling, you have any tips, tricks, you have any knowledge, any type of things that you can kind of pass down to our audience to help them out, to maybe help them make more money in reselling, maybe whether it's cross-listing, whether it's listing more items, like what is some of their like strategies or tips or advice that you could drop on us and help us out?
Sure. So first I want to give a shout out to Greg, Rocky Mountain Resell. He is one of the 3 people who was in my Facebook Marketplace video. And as you can see by his comment, he knows Facebook Marketplace pretty well. So just shout out to him. Thanks again, Greg, for coming on my channel a couple times. So, okay, so something you asked me earlier I didn't address, which is related to what you just asked now, is Poshmark and my tips for Poshmark. So I was saying that I've been doing this experiment where I list on all 3 platforms and that eBay and Facebook are around 25 and Poshmark's lagging behind. But actually the last couple of weeks, like I'm pretty sure my next update video, Poshmark's going to be right in line with the other 2 because I've been getting a ton of Poshmark sales. So I think there are a couple of keys to getting sales on Poshmark. The first one is sharing. Everyone talks about it. I did a video, like my second most viewed video is about why is sharing on Poshmark important? Why is sharing your own listings important? And don't share other people's listings, just share your own. So the thing that's been helping me get more sales on Poshmark recently is they just added a bulk sharing option. I don't know if you have seen this or not. But basically, instead of having to click an item, click share, wait a couple seconds, click a next item, click share, wait a couple seconds, you can go through and just click on every item. So, and then you click share and then just set your phone down and it will share everything for you. So it's like, I timed it the first day. I think it was 5 times faster to share now than it was before. So as a result, I've been sharing a lot more, which has been resulting in a lot more sales. They also added in a bulk offers to likers feature. So I always send out offers to likers, and I recently used that tool to send off 20% with a shipping discount, and I got a handful of sales just from doing that as well. So those are my first 2 tips: is share your items and then send out offers.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, sharing your items on Poshmark, it would almost be like doing promoted listings on eBay, because when you share your items show up higher in the search engine. Would you get more views on your item, and more views should convert into more sales, hypothetically. So, but I was just speaking just in general terms, because maybe as far as like listing the items, maybe as far as sourcing, do you do a lot of Goodwill bins where you're at? You have a Goodwill bins where you're located at?
Yeah, I do. I have one less than 15 minutes from my house, but I haven't actually gone there that much because times I've gone, I don't find anything that exciting. But I do love flying out to Denver and going to their bins. Like I can get a round trip ticket. I was just looking last night and I can get a ticket for September for $96 round trip.
Yeah.
So yeah, and their bins are just way better than Iowa's. So like I'll pay the $96. Plus now I've made like a reselling friend out there who I can stay with. So the cost keeps going down for what the trips cost. Yeah, so love going to outlet. In terms of like general tips, so my sales this year are way higher than they were last year, and I think there's a few keys. So the first tip, which is like super obvious, is just list a lot, and you'll sell a lot in general if you have things priced right, good pictures, all that. So I've been listing more, which is helping with sales. I've been cross-listing to multiple platforms, which is clearly helping me with my sales. If you look at those numbers, like if I was only selling on Poshmark, I wouldn't have had 75 sales, definitely not that fast. So cross-listing has helped me get quicker sales. And then another one that is somewhat controversial is don't have a death pile. Like I know there's a lot of people out there that say I need the death pile. It's my security pile. But for me, what happens is my death pile are basically I get this death pile and then I eventually list it all. But by the time I get to list it, my knowledge has gotten so much better that I look at those items and I'm like, why did I buy those? Or, especially with fashion, they might become not as popular anymore. Maybe that brand isn't popular or that style. And so the longer I wait to list them, usually the less valuable they become. And also the more I don't want to list them because I know so much more about reselling now that I would rather go out for an hour and use the knowledge I have now to get better items than to list those items I thought were good like a year or whatever ago I bought them. So that's one thing I've been
Yeah.
really focusing on this year is getting rid of my death pile, and I'm getting very close.
Yeah, I think it's funny that you like you would almost take a mini vacation to go sourcing and go to Denver and be like, hey, I'm here, I'm on my mini vacation, I'm gonna go out here and go sourcing for
Yeah.
stuff to resell. So I love that. And but yeah, I understand what you're saying. I have some items, or I had a bunch of items that were like some used DVDs that are like $5, $6, $7 items. And back then I would get excited about it, and now it's like I don't want to bother listing an item that's
Yeah.
like below a $10 threshold. So it's almost like you have items and you can't like get, it's not like you're not motivated, but it almost feel like you're spinning your wheels listing a $5, $6, $7 item when you
Yeah.
know you could be spending that same time listing 10, 15, 20, $30 items. So
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like, what is your time worth? So I just, well, last week I went and kind of purged some of my death pile, some of the items that have been sitting there for 3 to 6 months that are low value items that are taking up space, collected dust. I went and took them to a shop. It's, I guess it's similar to a pawn shop, and just sold a lot of the stuff off just to get rid of it, because that's
Right.
one of the 3 things you're going to run out of. You're either going to run out of time to list, you're going to run out of space, or you're going to run out of capital, which is money to invest to buy merchandise. So I was like, hey, I'll kill 2 birds at one stone. I'll free up some space, and now I have more capital to go out and get other higher, I guess, merchandise that sells for more money. So that's the way I was looking at it. But I kind of think that it's also important to kind of maybe have a little bit of a death pile of items. Like I have a box over here of CDs that I got that are new in the shrink wrap. And, you got something where you've got 30, 40, 50 cents a piece an item, and I can have a couple hundred items in a box. If I come home empty handed from a yard sale or a thrift store or whatever, I have items here that I can list. And they're, items like this, like that they have a barcode. It's quick. It's easy to list. I can take a picture front and back and turn my 50 cents into $15, $18, $20. And I always have items here on hand to list. And, like I said, sometimes you'll get there to a place. Maybe you're doing retail arbitrage. You're at a thrift store, yard sale, and maybe you come home empty handed, or maybe the store closed. I just like having items here on hand that if it's pouring down rain, it's 100 degrees outside, I don't want to go out sourcing that day, I have items here on hand that I can list. So it's just whatever works best for you guys.
Yeah.
Let me say hello here real quick to a few people in the chat. We have my buddy is here. That man is here. He says, what's up, Jeff? And Amber, he's coming to us. I think he was in Miami. I think he just got back. He's been traveling. So you guys get a chance to check him out. Rocky Mountain Resell is here. I wanted to say hey to the Fi Reseller. Says, also, I love your philosophy on the death pile. And we have a question. It says, Amber, what item or brand is on your BOLO bucket list? So kind of talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure. And I just want to add one more thing on the death pile. Yeah, I think having, a little bit of a death pile, especially if you're full-time, to like, if you have employees, you need to have pictures ready for them, you need to have items ready for them, totally makes sense. But I think a lot of people, from what I've seen in person, a lot of people's death piles are massive, like way more than you need as a security pile. And so I think that a lot of people in the reselling community use security pile as an excuse. So and I did the same thing. Like I did a couple of years ago. I was like, reality check, Amber, how much do you have unlisted and how long will that take you to list? And if you think about that, then at least for me, it was like, I need to stop buying because I have way more to list than I have time for in the next, couple months. So how much do I really need in the backup? And then that is what has gotten me to like cut down my death pile. I enjoy sourcing more when I have a lower death pile. I can actually apply what I'm learning more quickly because I'm not trying to list old stuff based on old knowledge. So yeah, I think a small death pile is fine. I just wanted to clarify, I'm not completely against them. And then, am I frozen? Are you still there?
Okay. We're good. Yeah, we had a question from the chat from the Fi Resellers. They wanted to know what item or / brand is still on your BOLO bucket list. So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have a ton. Let me think though. What's the first one that comes to mind? I feel like the brand Spell the Gypsy, which I'm probably never going to find in Iowa, but I know it's like, it sells well and it's a good brand and I've never found it. What else? I feel like there's so many things I could say. Like Mother Jeans, I've gotten them in ThredUp DIY denim boxes a couple times. And probably by the time I find them in Iowa, like they're already declining a little bit in value. they're probably going to be like not worth much by the time I find them, but I would love to find those in the wild. I don't know. I think there's so many things. I don't know. I could come up with probably like 15 if I sat here and thought about it for a while. What's at the top of your list?
Me, I sell a lot of media items. So like I don't sell like a lot of clothing and shoes. Most of my items are items like this that I picked up at the Dollar Tree for $1, turn around and sell it for $20. And then what I'll do is I'll go in and maybe grab this for $1, maybe turn around and sell it for 15, 20 bucks on eBay, buy 10 copies of it, go home, list it, put quantity of 10 in the listing, then I'm good to go. So I sell a ton of media items, and maybe like this item here, I picked this up at a pawn shop for 50 cents and I'll sell it for 20 bucks. So I'll do something like this all day long, and it's really easy to list. I have a barcode. I take a picture front and back. It's listed. And then whenever it sells, I'll put it in a little padded envelope, put a shipping label on it, and ship it out. So because I have a job, like just like you do, I have, I guess you could say, a full-time job. So I kind of wanted to transition into that because there's only so many hours in a day. And since you actually have a full-time job, how do you stay focused and motivated to go? Because like some people, when they get home from their 9-to-5 job, it's like they want to go home, take a shower, cook something to eat, do the laundry, have dinner with their family or significant other, sit in the recliner or whatever, and just kind of unwind a little bit. Where you, it's like for you to do that, you're just like, okay, I did all that. Now I have to go in my office or in my listing room, sit down, list items, share your closet, do promoted listings, pack and ship orders the night before. There's other stuff that's involved. So how do you stay kind of motivated to keep, hustling and keep listing items and sourcing and shipping and still do your full-time job? And you still also have a family that you have to spend time with them as well. So you can't just be like, hey, I'll see you guys in 6 months. It's Q4 is coming up. See you the first of the year. So kind of talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to balance. And I had a few things cross my mind when you're talking, but let me think of the main things. So now my husband's mowing. Can you hear that? He's getting the yard work done. So during the weekdays, the only thing that I definitely do is ship orders and share my Poshmark closet. And then on the weekends, like my husband jokes around that I wake up earlier on the weekends than I do the weekdays, because on the weekends I can get so much done. Like I can get up early, I can get a YouTube video done, I can get listings up. So most of my productivity for YouTube and reselling is on the weekends. And like I said, on weeknights, the only thing that I absolutely do is ship out my orders. And then sometimes I'll go on like a couple of weeks where I'm listing 3 items every single weeknight. And so I try to make it an achievable goal, something that I can get done, but keeps me getting stuff up and getting stuff listed. And then I also have done a few days where I'll do like a 50 item challenge on a Saturday where I try to get 50 items up at once. So I don't know. I just try to like set a goal, either achievable goal every night.
Oh, our guest froze for a second. Hold on, guys. Our guest froze. Oh. Hold on 1 second. I'll see if we get our guest back. We're back? Hold on. I'm trying. Just give me a second, guys, in the chat. This stuff happens. Just give me a minute. I'll come back. Sorry, guys. Our internet connection froze. When you're doing lives like this, sometimes things like that happen. So I sent her a message on Instagram. Oh, I think she's back now. Let's see.
Sorry,
there you go.
Oh. And then my other one's still there. Okay, there we go.
there you go. There you go. Yeah, we have your clone was here for a second. You clone yourself in 2 minutes, guys. See, when you come to eBay Addict channel, you learn how to resell and clone yourself. So I'm sorry, that was a bad joke. Go ahead, continue. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was pretty much done. Basically, I set goals and I try to make them achievable. And the other thing is I don't get down on myself if I want to take a night off on a weeknight or not do anything reselling related. So I think some people really beat themselves up if they're like, oh, I didn't do anything last night. Like, you have to give yourself days off. Like, you can't work your full-time job immediately get home, list a bunch of stuff, and do that every single day. Like, you're going to get burnt out. So yeah, I like on the weeknights, I do my shipping, I do my sharing, and maybe list, but on the weekends, I definitely am listing. I'm definitely trying to get a YouTube video done. So
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think sometimes people get like upset when they're like, hey, I need to make XYZ number of sales. And I try to focus more on things that you can control, you know, like whether it's YouTube or eBay, right? I can control the input of how many items I list. I can control what I'm going to list them at, what niche I'm listing. You can control certain aspects on your end on the input side, and the output side is going to come. Like, you know, if you sit down and list 100 items, well, some of them are going to sell. It may not be today or tomorrow. And a similar thing with YouTube, where it's like you're just going to have to keep making content. Not every one of them is going to, you know, have 10,000 views or whatever. You're just going to have to keep having more swings at bat at the plate, and sooner or later you're going to have home runs. So focus a lot of your energy on things that you directly can control. When you focus on things that are out of your control, then it's like, what do you get in front? It's like if there's a wreck on the highway, and I'm like, oh, Amber, I had a terrible day. There was a wreck on the highway. Well, there's nothing you can do about it. You know,
exactly.
There's something right now. If there's a wreck on the highway and then you run out of gas, there's a problem. But if it's something that you can do, it's like, oh, well, there's a wreck on the highway. At least I filled up and got gas before I got on the highway. I got the air conditioner on. I can listen to a YouTube or a podcast or the radio and just chill. Like, there's only so much you can do. Because I'm one of those people that's like, I want to get to my destination as quick as possible. But it's like, what is it that you can control when you're in? What can you do? Like, don't stress yourself out about something that you can't directly control. But anyways, we had a great time talking to you today. We've had on the show for about 50 minutes. I feel like I could probably talk to you for another hour. But go ahead and tell everybody on the channel where they can check you out at on YouTube and Instagram. They go by and check you out. I got your links listed down below.
Perfect. Yeah, my YouTube channel and my Instagram are both Amber Resells. And my videos are typically like pretty analytical, numbers-based videos. Recently, I've been doing a lot of, like I said, experiments where I'm listing same items, same prices, same time on eBay, Facebook, and Poshmark to see which platform is winning. I've also done a couple of Facebook Marketplace specific videos recently, and I'm probably going to have a video coming up soon about a couple tips for Poshmark. So if you're interested in any of that, definitely go and check out my channel. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, before we let you go, there's two more questions I want to ask you. Do you have any hot items or any BOLO items that we need to be on the lookout for right now that are selling for you or going into fourth quarter? Do you have any other items like that in Pacific that we should be on the lookout for right now?
My favorite item to sell right now are Rock Revival jeans. I don't know if you're familiar, but they're like the jeans with the big patches on the back, the fleur-de-lis logo. I found a few of those last couple of months. They've all sold for me within probably 3 weeks for like $50 to $60. So quick flips for good money. That's the main one that I'm like, I get really excited. Ariat boots, I get really excited about because they always sell really quickly. So those are the two that come to mind for me that I find in Iowa pretty frequently.
Okay, now, what are some of the goals that you have with your business over the next 3 to 5 years? Because I know earlier you talked about you take a lot of your profits that you make in sales and invest it into an investment portfolio. What's some of your like more long-term, like down the road, maybe 3 to 5 years thing that you're looking at with your reselling business? Is there any major goals that you're shooting for right now that you can kind of talk to us about?
Yeah, so YouTube, I have very specific goals. So my goal for this year is to get to 21,000 subscribers in 2021. I'm on track, so I should be able to hit that one. And then my other goal for YouTube was 1 video a week, but I've been I didn't post a video last weekend, so I missed another week. But it's hard to get a video a week up, but that's for me anyways, but that's my goal. And then as far as my reselling business, my goal, basically I put it around listing. So my goal at the beginning of the year was to get 100 items listed a month, but I've been a little shy of that. So I continue working on that goal. And then the other goal is just to improve my profit per hour of work. So that can be sourcing better items. That can be sourcing items that take less time to list. But really just like that's my main focus, is trying to consistently improve my hour per work earnings. So whether that is sourcing in different categories that sell faster and sell for higher profit, or like I said, sourcing items that take less time to list, but just kind of continuing to refine my reselling so that I can improve my profit per hour.
Okay, awesome. Do you have any other final words of wisdom that you can leave us with?
I don't know. I feel like I've given a lot of my main tips out already. So,
Well, just it doesn't have to be just reselling, live,
that's
YouTube, whatever.
my number one tip is know your profit and focus on your profit. Don't worry about the total earnings. But worry about your profit.
Okay, there we go. Thank you for coming on and hanging out with us. We greatly appreciate you, and hopefully you'll come on and hang out with us again sometime. So we appreciate you coming on. Yeah, you guys go follow her, our guest. All the links are down below for her YouTube and Instagram. Check her out. Amber Resells will be. You can check out her links down below. Tomorrow, if you guys want to come on and hang out with me tomorrow afternoon, 5 o'clock Eastern, I have a guest on. Anytime Pickers is going to be here, Roman. So you guys want to come by and hang out with Roman? You met him. You were at the reseller rally. He was there.
I'll try to do
yeah,
it.
you can't miss him. It's like, hey, hello, I am Russian. You know, that's his accent. So, anyways, you guys get a chance. I'll see you tomorrow. Go by and check out our guests. All the links are down below. Till then, you guys have a great one. We'll see you later. Bye, guys.
Bye.